A young and beautiful teacher hides in the men's room to catch school bullies. An elderly school principal finds her in one of the booths and takes her slowly, enjoying every minute to become his secret mistress to do every desire. Argentina, 1982. The June seized power, but after 6 years its forces are weakening. Maria is a young teacher working in a school with strict discipline. Its task is not only to help teachers but also to monitor public order. Before class starts, she and the principal check the students, their distance from each other, and other small things that are of great importance here. During one of the lessons, Maria draws attention to a guy named Marini and realizes that he feels sympathy for her. Moreover, this feeling is mutual. The next morning, Maria returns to her duties, carefully monitoring the students not only in class but also during recess. Noticing that Marini and his classmate were discussing something, the girl became interested in them but could not hear the topic of conversation. Noticing that the students went to the toilet, the teacher followed them but did not dare to go to the men's room, considering that it was too uncivil. A little later, Basuto calls Maria for a private conversation during which he reminds her that the teacher must constantly monitor the students using an invisible gaze. The girl understands all this and is ready to cope with her direct duties at any cost. After meeting the professor, she learns that one of the teachers has fallen ill and she will have to temporarily replace him. After receiving the task, the girl promises to follow the instructions clearly and pass on the topic of work to the students. The professor gives Maria a lollipop to see how she can handle it. On the way to class, the teacher stops at the door of the men's room and lies down on the floor to see what's going on there. Rushing to the lesson, the girl continues to be an extremely strict teacher, strictly following the discipline of school. Children having given out topics for independent work, Maria begins to walk around the class and carefully looks so that no one writes off each other. Approaching Marini, the girl sniffs the guy and enjoys the aroma of his perfume, experiencing a slight excitement. After class, the teacher cleans up the classroom and sits down at the desk of her favorite student to feel his presence next to her. In the evening, before leaving work, Maria decides to talk to the principal of the school. She informs Basuto that students are smoking inside the school, disrupting public order. They do it in the toilet, and the girl would like to follow the students to catch smokers and punish them for violating the rules of behavior. Basuto completely trusts the young teacher and allows her to do whatever she sees fit as long as she manages to catch bullies who deserve to be punished. Immediately after that, the girl goes to the men's room. Knowing that no one is inside, she goes inside and checks each stall, making sure that there is no hidden pack of cigarettes anywhere. On the way home, the teacher goes to the pharmacy where she picks out exactly the same perfume as Marini uses. Returning home, the girl takes a bath and thinks about the sky at night. Before she falls asleep, she hides a bottle of perfume under her pillow and sniffs it to think about guy she fell in love with during a tea party. In the staff room, Maria glances at Basuto more and more often, and he notices the girl's gaze on him, thinking that she likes him. Immediately after that, the teacher again goes to the men's room to check if there are any smoking students there. Hearing that someone is approaching, the girl decides to hide in one of the booths as it is awkward for her to be here and would not like someone to meet her in the men's room. Hiding in a booth, Maria waited until everyone else had left and then returned to her direct duties. Before the start of regular classes, students are lined up so that teachers can check their appearance. Remaining an extremely strict and demanding teacher, Maria notices every detail. She points out to schoolgirls the color of socks, the length of hair, extra butt, and other small things. Marini is approached by Maria, who checks the length of his hair and smells the guy's perfume. Strongly excited, the girl loses not only control over herself but also consciousness. Sometime later, she wakes up in the nurse's office and learns that she has fainted due to low blood pressure. Basuto was not indifferent to the situation and brought the girl so that the nurse could give her the necessary help. A little later, Maria thanks the headmaster for his concern and promises that this will not happen again, considering that the girl does not have enough positive Emotions Beso invites her to the attic where with the help of a telescope he offers to look at the starry sky. The man thinks this is very romantic, but Maria does not understand this and goes home. The mother is cooking in the kitchen and at some point starts screaming because the pipe burst. Maria tries to help her but also cannot cope with the flow of water. The grandmother turns off the tap and then reproaches her daughter, who is not able to solve even the smallest difficulties during the next day of work. Maria continues to stare at the headmaster. A middle-aged man believes that this is sympathy, not realizing that the teacher feels only respect for him and admires him as a professional in his field. Walking along the corridor of the school, Maria notices how students brush their lips. Being an extremely strict and responsible teacher, she takes away their documents and calls both of them to the principal, promising a lot of problems for their misconduct. A little later, Maria again closes herself in the men's toilet stall to apprehend offenders. At some point, the girl stops thinking about her mission and takes off her underwear to use the toilet for its intended purpose. Doing this in a place that is full of men, Maria feels pleasure. During class, she glances at Marini and notices that the student also often looks at her. It seems that their interest in each other is mutual, but nothing can happen between them due to the age difference. In the evening after school, the principal invites Maria to the cafe to discuss business in private without prying ears. The girl is confused by such a meeting, but Basuto really talks about work. During the dialogue, Maria talks about herself and her family, after which the man takes her to the metro, attempts to touch her hand or brush lips but were unsuccessful as the young teacher is too modest and shy, moreover does not understand the hints at all. Upon returning home, Maria asks her mother and grandmother to help her prepare for the party. Realizing that she is quite young and beautiful, the girl decides not to stay at home and goes to Esteban's home disco. A colleague is happy to welcome Maria, but the girl feels like a stranger at this celebration of life. Everyone is having fun, but no one communicates with her, which is why the teacher decides to go home. Esteban's younger sister realizes that Maria is a virgin and offers to enjoy the best time with her brother. Maria is confused by this suggestion and she runs away from the party. On Monday day during recess, teachers laugh as they pass a piece of paper with a drawing on it. Noticing the indecent behavior of the teachers, Beso asks to see the drawing and realizes that the men are making fun of poor Maria. In a noble gesture, the principal suspends teachers from their official duties for 48 hours, thereby protecting the honor of a weak and defenseless girl. Maria continues to lock herself in the men's room and sit in a booth, hearing men's voices. A girl experiences pleasure and learns a lot of new things. In the library, Maria spots Marini and stares at the guy leaving the library. The girl finds his bag with things and arranges a search. The head of the library prevents her from conducting a thorough inspection and asks her to leave the premises as her behavior seems inappropriate. After going to the pool, Maria waits for Marini to come here and watches the guy curiously. Realizing that his bag is in the locker room, the teacher rushes there and checks its contents. Having found perfume and underwear, she enjoys the aroma of a guy and dreams about him again. Upon returning home, Maria buys a record with dynamic music so that she can dance a little. At night, she asks her grandmother if she was ever had feelings and gets an ambiguous answer. The next morning, Maria is closing herself in the bathroom again. A couple of minutes later, the headmaster starts knocking on her door, suggesting that a student is hiding there. The girl is afraid to admit that she is here and remains silent until Basuto breaks down the door. After meeting the principal face to face, the teacher says that she is hiding here to catch violators of public order who decided to do it in the toilet. Realizing that she is being silly, Maria cries and turns to a nurse for help. Upon returning home, she is extremely irritable and yells at her mother for eating loudly at night. The grandmother tells her granddaughter that she had feelings before her marriage. Having met her first love, she cheated on her husband but does not regret it at all. During the next lesson, the students hear a loud sound and panic, but Maria calms them down. Soon it turns out that fighting has started. Nearby and teachers must keep the school under control. In the evening, Basuto calls Maria to see if she is all right. The next morning, the principal goes to the men's room and knocks on the teacher's stall, knowing that she is there. Hearing a strange voice, Maria and Basuto hide in the same stall, waiting until the toilet is empty. A little later, they exchange glances in the assembly hall, and Basuto notices this, realizing that Maria is not in love with him. Immediately after class, when all the children leave school, the principal asks the teacher to go with him to the toilet. He tells her that there is something important here, but it turns out that the man just lured her into a trap. Vudo guessed that Maria was only taking advantage of his naive and trust-shy. Maria apologizes for her behavior and cries, but the headmaster decides to punish her, feeling an unhealthy sympathy for the young teacher. The man grabs her and tries to kiss her. Innocent Maria tries to resist, but there is no one in the school and no one will hear her scream. Basuto takes the teacher men's room, then washes her hands and asks the girl to calm down. Maria puts herself in order but realizes that she will not be able to forgive the director. Taking out a nail file from her purse, she attacks the man from behind and strikes several times. After leaving school, Maria leaves. Basing in the toilet, a man loses his life, and Argentina seeks independence by democratically electing a president for the first time.